Hey, good morning. Maria back with another video. It's like 6:39 a.m. I got up about 45 minutes ago. So I was kind of tinkering around the house. I might go back to bed, depends, but I'm used to getting up in the morning. I usually do. I say I'm going to stay in late, but it's usually because I go back to bed if I do. But I have no problem like rising up in the morning and doing things around the house. I'm a morning person, believe it or not. I am a morning person. I always have been a morning person. So I've, dealt with people in the past who always bitch about the morning. And I'm like, wow, the morning is so beautiful. Yesterday when I was on my way to work, I was driving on the freeway. And of course it was dark, so I made note of the time. It was like 6:28 a.m. I'm like, I want to know exactly what time the sun rises. And there's times where there's apps now, of course, that let you know exactly what time the sun rises, what time it sets. And, I always try to see if those are accurate. And I'm like, I'm so picky. It's like, you better be right on the dot. Of course, it's usually close, but not exactly right on the dot. But anyway, yeah, that stuff's fascinating to me. And I do love the morning. It's very peaceful, hearing the birds chirp and stuff like that. Yeah, I love, the natural cycle of, the time that we flow through. It's kind of cool. So anyway, I was watching a video this morning, and a lady named Ava, 888, left a comment on my video, which prompted me to check out her video. And I'm really glad to hear that she's up and running. Like, she's working. She's another targeted individual, and her work environment is very positive from what I hear. And I'm glad that she responded to my video, which in turn led me to watch her video, because like Ava 888, I too have always been concerned about my stability. That's all we care about. We're just people who are very focused and want to feel secure, because I'm going to speak from my experience at this point, is that, we struggle to have any peace of mind, because for as long as I can remember, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to me, as long as I can remember, I've always had issues that would creep up, whether it would be like, anywhere, because of the immature actions of my family poking at me. And then to have an employer come in on her own and do weird stuff and create this enormous amount of chaos is very traumatizing to a person. Imagine being put in situations where somebody's dangling your life in front of your face day after day, knowing that you have financial responsibilities, knowing that you have to keep a roof over your child's head. And this is sort of mental mind games that these people don't ever think or have a long lasting effect. And you're basically being threatened with your life on a day to day basis. So it's very difficult for me to, like what she was saying, be trusting, because every time you've gone to these places of work, these people are, a lot of them, aren't serving as coworkers and daytime comrades. You don't have to be best friends with people at work, okay? But you should be, there should be a harmonious flow of interaction with people, because number one, you're there almost, you spend more time with people that you work with, more so than you do your own family in a lot of cases, okay? Think about the time you get ready for work, the time you leave for work, the time you spend at work, and then the time you come home. And that's not including overtime or, special events or whatever that your work is throwing. So you spend a lot of time with these people, because most of the time, if you're a parent, you send your kid off to school before you go to work, and then you come home, and then you have those last few hours of the late afternoon to the evening to spend with your kid. You got to send it to bed, and then the next process goes over. So your coworkers are people you're spending more time with than your own family. And so, when you've dealt with the workplace mobbings, when you've dealt with going into a work environment, you're doing a good job, and then all of a sudden things turn around in the abrupt way that they do, and then the next thing you know, your life is being threatened over and over and over again. What you are carrying around in you for year after year is a feeling of thinking that people can only be evil, That's what you think. You can't, it's very hard if you've dealt with this sort of thing in your early life, your teenage years, and then even worse, here at the workplace, okay? And you can't help but feel like, who can I trust? You know, because everybody that you've known have always served as some sort of double agent informant, you know? So their sincerity, oftentimes you can't help but question it because it's always been there, you know? And so I'm glad to hear that Ava found an environment where she's feeling comfortable. Ava 888 is feeling comfortable and she feels optimistic and she's enjoying her work environment. That's important, okay? It's very important to feel comfortable. And those kinds of comforts have never really been available to me. Like when I first worked at the farmer's place, everything was good. And oftentimes, you know, that's the narcissist trick. They want you to feel comfortable, and then as soon as you're feeling comfortable, then they feel as though they can have more manipulation over you. Because I really enjoyed going to work every day when I first started. I seriously did. It wasn't work like work. It was just a natural process for me to get up and enjoy my day and then come home. And that's pretty much what everybody wants and should be doing, okay? And it was great, but then the weird stuff started happening around 2000, late 2000, mid 2010, somewhere around there. And from that point on, you know, I was holding it together, you know, just trying to get to work every day and do whatever I had to do. But it was all like the gossip, this, that, the other thing. And then seeing all the blatant injustices playing out in front of my face, you know, like I already mentioned some of the things that went on over there. And then for me to sit here and be persecuted in the manner that I had been when all these other people were doing God knows what, how are you supposed to feel? Because you can obviously tell that you're a target of some kind. You may not know the entire thing, but you know something's wrong. You can see that people are being hypocritical, that, you know, a lot of these people aren't really qualified to do their job, but yet you're doing sometimes their job and you're not getting any credit for it. That's very strange, okay? And it's very psychologically damaging to a person, okay? Some people are very weak-minded, so they're going to start to think, well, this is my fault. I never once thought it was my fault. I knew from the very beginning, I may not have known who the orchestrators were, but I did know that there was nothing wrong with me, that what was going on was I was dealing with a multitude of things. I figured these people were just racist, period. You know, and I would say that that's the underlining part of it. Also, I do think that that there's a lot of ignorance, you know, just people wanting to be a part of the, what do you call it, the slaughter or taking down somebody, you know, and it's a very sick thing, but you'd be surprised how many people would do it. Even people who claim to be Christian and good God-fearing people, and people who claim that they don't have any prejudices, but that they'll do that shit, okay? So you'll find that you are in a situation where you don't trust people. And it's natural to want to have relationships with people, meaning, you know, I wish I had a girlfriend. Like right now, I'm drinking a cup of coffee. Wouldn't it be great to have a girlfriend to come over and have coffee with? It would be. And then we would talk. And then I would say, you know, let's go hit some of those garage sales and the thrift stores. And she'd be like, okay, great. That's wonderful. We get in the car and go and spend the day going to different thrift stores. And then maybe, I'm sure this imaginary friend of mine that we're talking about, making up this scenario, would probably be, you know, somebody who enjoys sewing or something like that. So we would talk about clothes and we would work together, and then we would do some sort of craft project and maybe go walking by the lake in the afternoon. That would be great. You know, or do those I wonder, are friendships like that real? Do women have friendships like that? Or just women are just catty bitches and they're constantly stabbing each other in the back? I'm wondering, do real relationships, friendships between women exist? Okay, but that's another video for another day. But my point is that it's not that I don't want to have friends. It's just you get to the point where you no longer trust people. You know, because most of the people that you've dealt with, in my case, in the last, starting from, now, I'm not even starting from all the other places that my family has caused their problems, okay? But we were just going to start at the place in Chatsworth. That goes back 10 years, okay? A little over 10 years, because I started there in 2007, okay? That goes back a decade, okay? So after being traumatized on a daily basis from leaving that place, and that's all I did was leave. So, why this psychomaniac comes charging after me just because I left? In other words, this person is angry and frothing at the mouth and wanting to punish me for not wanting to put up with her abuse. Okay, I want you to think about what that really means, that this is a narcissistic person. And there's narcissistic boss information all out there. I see people doing videos on it. I haven't watched a bunch of them, but I do know that it's a very common thing, okay? And it's a very illegal thing, okay? So anyway, yeah, get your emotions in check. Get them under control, okay? You don't go lashing out because somebody doesn't want to put up with your abuse. And that's pretty much the bare bottom line, because tell me why else somebody would sit here and probably stalk me and then kind of control my life, okay? Because obviously that's not normal, okay? It's not normal. It's just pent up frustration that's unjustified. But anyway, I digress, and I apologize. Anyway, so you can't help but feel that way, especially when you see how easily people are manipulated into jumping into something like this. Like, it's just, so it's when you go into a work environment, you can't help but come in sort of tense at first, okay? Like, I'm sure this girl, Ava 888, she started her job, and, she talked about it. She wants to be very careful, fill out her environment first, and that's normal, okay? It's normal for anybody, really. But when you've been a target and dealt with all kinds of weird stuff that should have never happened in the workplace, you can't help but feel like, oh my God, what is going to happen now? Because you're always thinking that there's bullshit behind it. You know what I mean? And when people start being nice to you, you wonder, are they being fake? Or what is it? What is this deal now? What is the kicker now? What is it? What kind of string is attached to this bullshit now? So you can't help but feel that way. Okay? But at the same time, you can't go on your life, living in this thing. So you have to be very careful, okay? And like where I'm working right now, I don't have a problem. Now, if these people get off to the side and start gossiping and talking, that's on them, okay? But they're gossiping and talking about nothing. I don't know if they are or not, really. I don't, okay? Because at this point right now, most of the people work outside of my office. I'm the only one in my office / trailer, okay? I'm the only person in there. Okay, so the only person I really interact with would be the farm manager, and then also the owner of the company. I see the other people who work out in the fielding area, but I usually just, if they come in and they ask me for something, I'm very accommodating to them. I have no issues with them. There's no reason for me to. So I get along with the people there. I don't have an issue with that. But, the thing is that, I'm used to interacting in an office with other people, okay? Like, I do like having my own office or cubicle or office or whatever. Everybody likes having their own little space. But, I also miss, like, talking, especially to other women, okay? So, it's like, oh, man, that kind of sucks. But I will say that, I get along with them. Today, like yesterday, I was thinking, I didn't not go to their luncheon because I had something against them, or I feel like I'm being persecuted there. It wasn't that. It was just my mood is very contagious, okay? I can bring, if somebody is feeling gloomy, that their energy, seriously, can bring down a lot of people. So I understand that sometimes I have very intense moods, okay? Intense moods. Meaning I'm not sitting here being a drama queen, but there's no way in the world I could sit here and smile. You could try to crack jokes, you could try to perk me up. I'm just going to be like, So, I can't fake that. I can't pretend that. And people can see it on my face when I'm trying to pull it off. I don't bother pulling it off anymore. I don't. It's too much of a mental struggle. It is. It's too much of a mental struggle. And then while I'm trying to pull it off, I would be thinking in the past, like, God, I just want to get out of here. Not because of the people necessarily, but just because it's an awkward situation. I can't make myself put on a smile. I can't do it. Can't do it. It's not fair to me, and it's not fair to other people. So, and if it was another day, maybe I could have felt more up and up. Like if this would have happened on Monday, which would be a really, really weird day to have that barbecue, I probably would have been out there. Probably. But it wasn't. It happened at the end of the week. And so I was just hit one of those negative moods, which has been pretty much my predominant mood in the last few, years, I would say, because of all this bullshit. It's just the way it worked out. So, but no, I don't. I don't have a problem with that. I've got my issues right now of dealing with what happened and then coming to the realization as to what the root of that was and why it happened. And so, of course, my brain is just like, it's flipped out. Like, how I can't, my anger towards these particular people, especially my boss in Chatsworth, my ex-boss in Chatsworth, it's like I'm beyond angry. Okay, I'm beyond angry at the arrogance and the narcissism and the attempts or her ability to convince other people that she had this authority, and then these idiots following in and thinking it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. And then I know that the reason why she stayed in my life for so long is because she was insisting upon it. Regardless of what I say, regardless of what my rights were, she continued her bullshit. So it's like when I deal with people who have this arrogance about them, and they're coming at me. That's just like some weird freak raping a woman, and she's pounding their face saying, "Get the fuck off me," and they continue to charge her. You know what I mean? That is exactly the same thing. I'm being violated. I'm being victimized, and I'm being abused, and I'm telling you, stop it, and you're continually doing it. Okay? That's why it's upsetting to me. And it's the kind of fucking upset that sits there and makes me get up at odd hours in the morning or evening or nighttime and then not be able to fully relax, always walking around tense and being sad because you can't trust people around you. Okay? Look how much damage people's weird gossip and their fucking hatred can do. It can go all the way around. This kind of, what do you call it? Social cancer, social engineering, whatever you want to call it, can go all the way around the world. That's deep hatred. Okay? As a matter of fact, I would call it borderline genocide. I was watching a Tracy Ullman video, okay? You remember Tracy Ullman. I started taking notice of her back in the 80s. She did this cute little pop song. And it had Paul McCartney in it, as a matter of fact. It's like, They Don't Know About Us or something. It was a cute song. The video was really cute, okay? Anyway, she did the Tracy Ullman show. Then she had The Simpsons. That's how The Simpsons actually got started. So she's a comedian, okay? Well, anyway, I'm sitting here on YouTube, and I see this thing about job interview of a sociopath or something. And it was kind of funny because I clicked on it because I can think, what is she up to these days? So I clicked on it, and she's doing this skit where she's like this sociopath, and she's like, she's at this job interview, and the panel is interviewing her, and they're basically talking about her crimes against humanity, right? And she talks about how, in her past, she left that part off of her resume, like it would be on there anyway, but she left that part off her resume. They're asking her about it, and she is basically talking about it as if it's like, a common thing, like, as if she had, I don't know, that was just her past experience, okay? And it was very strange because they actually gave approval and ended up hiring her at the end of the interview. And I was thinking to myself, as sick and twisted as this plot is, there's some goddamn truth to what this skit was saying, maybe if I can find it later, I will attach it and put it into the description box. But it was twisted, kind of morbid, but it was kind of funny. Only because the reason why it's funny is because it doesn't stray that far from the truth. Okay? Because certain actions that certain businesses or how they operate do put in processes of crimes against humanity. And that's what it is. It's a crime against humanity. When you prevent, block, discriminate, and create these kind of social issues to where people are ganging up on another individual you have basically put something like that in place. That's why it's illegal. That's one of the reasons why confidentiality in companies is so important. Okay? That's why a lot of people have lawsuits against employers for saying certain things. When you are verifying employment, there are certain things you should not say to other prospective candidates, especially if it's not true. If it's not based on the job, you are opening yourself up to a lawsuit. And rightfully so, because that's exactly, that Tracy Ullman video is exactly why. Okay? So it's kind of funny, you know, that I think I liked that video. I'm not sure. If I did like it, it's easier for me to find it and attach it in the description box. I thought it was kind of funny. Sick, twisted, weird, but funny. So anyway, gorgeous day today so far. I can hear the little birds chirping when I sit around and just be quiet, and it sounds really pretty. I think the sun is probably up by now, or getting ready to get up. It gets up around 6:45, somewhere around there. That's what it was yesterday. And you know, I love this time of the year. Pretty soon it's going to be getting darker. It's already getting darker, which I love. You know, it's a very mysterious feeling at autumn. You know, it's beautiful. I don't know, for people who live here in Bakersfield, I've always liked going down Godsford, that street. You know, they have a lot of trees on the side. And if you're not somebody who has the ability to get out in nature, okay, that is the next best thing, okay? I would love to be going out somewhere in a nice forest or field or something like that. But right now I can't do that, okay? So, you know, if I have the ability to go down Gosford, I like going down Gosford because there's a lot of trees on the side and they are very revealing of the time of the year that we're in. And you know, it gets very beautiful. The trees become like golden and they got all these pretty colors into them. I enjoy that street, you know. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I will be looking for that Tracy Ullman video and I will put it in the description box. Really, I think it was funny. Anyway, have a wonderful day and I'll get back with another video later. Bye-bye.